Healing through forgiveness. A quote from St. Augustine: resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Have you ever struggled with unforgiveness in your life? I know I have. And betrayals and accusation, hurt, even church hurt, especially church hurt against me. I've struggled with unforgiveness. Yeah, but that person doesn't deserve to be forgiven. I need to be mad at them, And I always thought that forgiveness was an emotion. But in all reality, it's not. And there may be have been people in your life that have deeply hurt you, and they don't deserve to be forgiven. But forgiveness really isn't for the other person. It's for you. When you hold unforgiveness towards someone, it's like locking yourself in a prison cell and hoping that the other person is locked in a prison cell. But really, you're just locking yourself in. It can poison you. It can poison your mind. It can even cause physical symptoms in your body if it festers. So forgiveness isn't for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. And as I began to learn this concept and I began to forgive the people that hurt me, I've started to walk in freedom and started to walk in victory in my life. And so can you. God doesn't ask you to forgive so that He can punish you when you don't. God asks you to forgive because He knows it's freedom in your life and it's the way of the kingdom. And He knows it's the only way that'll carry you to healing. He knows that the only way that you're going to get free is if you choose to forgive. I remember there were people in my life that really hurt me, and I was like, I am not forgiving. I'm not forgiving. And I just couldn't get the emotion there. But I started to pray and say, God, I just started to pray for this person. It was the hardest prayer I've ever prayed before. And I was like, God, I pray that you would forgive this person. I pray that you would bless this person. And I didn't even mean the prayer. I didn't even mean it. But as I prayed it, I watched things start to happen in my life. I watched me get free. And that other person, I don't know what happened to them. I didn't talk to them, but I was no longer held in a jail cell that was keeping me held back in pain and in sorrow. And I got to move on with my life. This is the power of forgiveness. And it's absolutely incredible. I want to give you a new perspective on forgiveness. And I want to specifically hit on, if Christians have hurt you. Because sometimes that's the hardest, most difficult hurt. There was a book written by Rick Joyner called The Final Quest, and he had a vision where he went to heaven, and in this vision there was a civil war on earth going on in the spirit realm of basically Christians fighting against Christians. And it was this imagery happening where Christians were throwing rocks at other Christians. There was unforgiveness going on. There was hatred. There was judgment. There was performance going on. And the Christians that were attacking the other Christians had these forces of darkness on their backs. And they were like these demons on their backs. And they were wrapped around these Christians. They were wrapped around these Christians, controlling these Christians to tell their brothers and sisters to hurt them and to reject them and to gossip about them and to slander about them. And when I read that story, it was so eye-opening for me because I began to see that the people, because I went through quite a bit of church hurt, I began to see that the people that had hurt me, it really wasn't them. It was the junk that was controlling them. And when you see that in your life as this person, because they were hurt and wounded, allowed the enemy to work through them to hurt me, then it changes a lot of things because you see that it wasn't the other person. And even if the other person wasn't a believer and wasn't a Christian that hurt you, or wherever you have unforgiveness in your life, or wherever you have deep hurt and pain in your life where you're struggling to forgive, if you can see it is that person having trauma in their life, having issues in their life, having pain in their life. I love in The Shack in the movie where the main character is about to judge this person for killing his daughter and says he deserves to go to hell. He deserves it. And Wisdom is as personified, and she's sitting up there and says, does this person deserve it? Because it shows a flashback of the guilty man that killed his daughter. His parents before beat him and beat him down and whipped him. And then their parents before beat them down and whipped them and put these evil mindsets inside their... It all goes back to a broken world, to the curse of Adam. And when you can see it, even though the pain in your life was so real, I know it was real, I know it was intense. I'm not trying to diminish the pain in your life. I'm not saying that you deserved it. I'm not saying that the other person deserves to get off the hook for free, but you deserve to get off the hook. And if you make a choice to forgive, even if you don't feel the emotions, you will notice as you open your heart and say, God, because of your spirit inside of me, I can forgive anyone for anything, as hard and as difficult as it is, because your spirit is living in me. And if I don't feel like I can, God, help me. And you will watch yourself begin to walk in freedom. This is the beauty of forgiveness. It's the beauty of forgiveness. So I want you to practice. If you're willing to forgive, I want you to practice and say, I forgive blank. I forgive this person. I forgive whoever. And say, I'm going to forgive whoever it was that hurt you. And allow the Holy Spirit to highlight to you anyone that you need to forgive. And as you practice that forgiveness, He'll heal you. He will heal you. You know, sometimes it's difficult to forgive ourselves. And what I mean by forgiving ourselves is accept the sacrifice of Jesus over our lives. Well, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. But let's say that you owe a person $10,000 and your friend comes and pays that other person $100,000. This was the exact payment of Jesus. Jesus overpaid the Father for the debt that you owed. Now you and the Father and Jesus are in perfect relationship when you accept Jesus' sacrifice. If you need proof, look at Hebrews chapter 10, verse 17. It says, I will never again remember their sins and lawless deeds. So where do you need to forgive yourself? And what I mean by that is, where do you need to accept the Father's forgiveness over your life? As you carry a life of forgiveness, accepting the Father's forgiveness over you and forgiving others, you will walk in true freedom and healing in this area.